This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. So today we'll start with our first session. Uh, so first thing that we'll be discussing is performance testing walkthrough. Okay. So in our testing, in any performance testing project, what are the two scenarios? So let's say you are on a project and there's a scenario that the new client is coming up. So he might be aware that they are having performance issues and they want to get their performance testing done to weed out those issues. And there's another possibility that the we already done the testing. Okay. And once and this is maybe they're rolling out their next phase. Okay. Next version, and they want to test it again to optimize their application. So if the in the first scenario, client may be aware of your process and may not be aware of your process, but in the second scenario, client is very well aware of the process, the things that you will be working on or the things that you are expecting. Okay. And in terms of deliverable, so we at that time you might not need to explain him everything on detail. Okay. But in the first scenario, you have to give one performance testing walkthrough. Okay. In which you have to explain your process methodology, everything in detail, that how are you going to execute, what are you claiming to be executing. Okay. So let's start with the first scenario, but before that, let's understand performance in life cycle. I mean, this is very crucial to understand that. Okay. As a performance tester, if I'm in a project, that how and when and what to do, so this performance life cycle gives me a clear picture of it. Okay. Before that, anyone wants to explain it? What is performance life cycle? Anyone? We have few people. Anyone will give a try? Unmute yourself and just okay. Anyone? We have few people here. Okay, fine. So let's understand this. Okay. So on a definition level, we can understand. Okay, the first step is non-functional requirement gathering analysis. So we analyze. Okay, what are the things that we're going to need? Then we are going to document everything non-functional requirement. Okay, and then once that is done, we'll start working on our test planning and strategy. Once that is done, we'll start working on our test plans. Once that is done, in which we'll be doing our workload modeling. And once that is done, then designing test design and development, basically. Okay, the scenarios that we are going to get tested. And the next phase is test script creation. Once the test scripts are created, then we'll move on to text execution. Text. Okay, so after execution, we'll look at the results. If the results are satisfactory, then it's good. We'll directly publish it. If not, we'll see why the results are poor. Okay, then go to the client with with the recommendations that we have. Then again analyzing the bottlenecks, basically. Then doing again second round of testing. If the results are satisfactory, that's good. If not, then again we'll have to do the process. So this is on the definition level, we can understand. Okay, and people memorize it also, but let's understand this. This is very natural process. Okay, it's not that we have to memorize. Okay, these are the steps are there. So let's for a second just leave this as it is and think from a perspective that, let's say today I bought one piece of cloth. Okay, and I want to get it stitched. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go to the tailor. Okay, I'll go to one of the best tailors in my town and I will give them this cloth, that, sir, can you please stitch it? Okay, so as a head tailor, okay, as the owner of the tailoring shop, what is the first thing that I will do? Okay, so if the customer is known, okay, if the customer is known, look at just try to correlate, okay, in terms of what we are like doing here, and with the example that I'm giving. Okay, so what will the tailor will do? So the tailor, if he's a known tailor, okay, like if I'm a known customer, so he was like, sir, do you want it the same way you like got stitched last time? So I will, if it's yes, then he will just start like he has all my measurements, everything requirement. We will start working on that. But if that is not the case, so I'm the first time if I'm going, so I've said no, I don't have idea. I mean, this is a good, I mean, this is a new cloth, so I might I want to see that what kind of stitching that you do. So what is the what he will do. So in our project, if you look at it, we are giving performance testing walkthrough, that what we do as a performance testing team. Okay, so there also he will give one catalog, that's a this is a type of cloth that that we stitch. You can go ahead and look at it. Okay, so I'll have a quick look and I'll like finalize. Okay, I want this one. Now, once that is done, what is the next thing that the uh, tailor will do? Tailor will say, "Sir, can you please give me your clothes? I want to analyze it. I want to see what kind of clothes is this, whether it is possible for me to do it or not." So, in a non-functional gathering, that is what we do. So, non-functional gathering, we understand the application, we understand the problems that someone is facing. What are the challenges that the client is facing, or the application an application point of view the application is facing. We'll try to understand that. Okay, try to understand the application architecture, what are the problems, how we're going to test it, what is the scope. So as a tailor will also look at the clothes, see, okay, fine, whether this cloth that has been given to me, is it like even can I stitch it or not, do I have the experience or not. Okay, what will be my scope, what kind of stitch I'll be doing, the stitch that the client is asking, the customer. I'm saying, okay, can you please stitch this cloth in this particular format? Is it even possible for me, whether the material that is given to me, uh, that is proper or not. Okay, so in the similar way, if you look at the application point of view, we are also checking, okay, whether the ask that the customer has, does it even possible for us. If it's not possible, we have to tell the client that, okay, fine, this is what our scope is, this is what we can test, this is what we can, I mean, recommend. This is our scope for performance testing. So in a similar way, your tailor is also I mean the master tailor, what you call, has is also doing the same thing, analyzing it. Okay, so at that time, once everything that is finalized, so the head tailor will take, okay, sir, can you please give me your measurements and all. So similar way, once that is done, we document everything. Okay, we document everything. Okay, this is the reason, these are the reason for which for the performance testing was initiated for. Okay, then this will be the scope, this is the area in which bottleneck. We'll see the NFR document, it will give a clear picture of it. But on a mental level, try to understand that what is happening on this stage and why this stage is crucial. Okay, then we will say, okay, we'll be using this tool, we'll be using this methodology, this process, these are the 10 SLAs, I mean, that we'll be keeping in mind. Okay, that the response time should not go higher, the CPU duration should be this much. Okay, the failure rate should not be go beyond this much. So these things are decided, like the way we are deciding when we are having a when we are finalizing that, okay, fine, I want this particular kind of stage. So we are saying, okay, I want this type of color, I want this type of like this particular length is there, I mean, what are the measurements are there, that things are decided at this stage, and a SOW is signed, statement of work. Okay, at this stage only, after this stage, I mean, once that is finalized, SOW is signed that, okay, fine, these are the 10 things that we have agreed. As a performance testing, we will delivering this, and as a customer, you will not be asking basically more than that. So it usually happens that the customer will, what they do in the end, say, can you please do that. So let's say we have agreed on load test, soak test, induce test. Okay, they will say, can you do one breakpoint test also. Okay, so then I mean, they can say, okay, can you have two more rounds of this. So they keep on increasing their demand, it happens in the end. Okay, so at the time, we go and say that this is what we have agreed. Sometimes we do it, okay, as a goodwill. But if it's like the bandwidth or doesn't allow us, so we tell them that, sir, in the initial phase of our gathering, this is what the SOW was signed, if we have agreed on this. Okay, so that is why SOW is very important. And understanding the application. So if you look at it, this is a very crucial stage, okay, from a customer point of view. So tomorrow, if I go and the kind of stitch that I wanted, the master tailor has promised me, let's say that it was not delivered according to that measurements. Okay, as a customer, I'll be very angry. Similar way, the customer I mean, the owner of the application will also get mad. Okay, to say that that you have promised this and you're not delivering it to me. Okay, so that's why this stage, if you see, performance test managers are written. That's why, because the manager has the in some organization, the manager is there, dedicated managers are there. Okay, and then some companies, you'll see multiple, I mean, a single manager is happening multiple projects. Okay, but as a manager, he has the visibility to assess that, okay, this is the capacity of my team. Okay, I mean the capabilities, okay, and the capacity, and these are the tools that I have. Okay, in the future maybe sometimes you have to procure more tools. Let's say they are saying that okay fine, for the good analysis I want Dynatrace. So the manager has the visibility, okay, they know okay this it will cost this much, so they can have those discussion, and even though they don't have that tool. So these are the top level things I would say. Okay, so that's why the manager is involved. Okay, you'll not see any performance test engineer or even the specialist. Some instances they are also there. Team leads and manager drive these conversations. Okay, but since it is so crucial, okay, it is what we are delivering in the end. So that is why managers are involved. And so what people do that they go into, they say that I'm involved in end-to-end performance testing, and I'm only doing the NFR gathering and all. Okay, and they have some 3 or 2 years of experience. So it is highly unlikely, okay, if someone who's taking leads or manager, they immediately know that that is highly unlikely. Maybe you are there, okay, work, I mean you are part of the meetings. Okay, you are working on draft document, but yeah, official document needs to be reviewed and sent by manager only, understanding the criticality. Okay, so let's say the master tailor has gathered all the information. He is confident also that okay fine, I can stitch this close. Okay, I can stitch this close. But let's say that you have given a new kind of material, altogether new kind of material, which he's not sure. He's not even sure that okay, whether that particular kind of stitch that I am asking is even possible or not. Okay, so what will happen? The estimator say that okay sir, can you please give me 2 3 days, that let me just have a quick look, have a try on this, whether I'll be able to do it or not. If not, I'll let you know. So this is something similar happens in performance testing projects also. So sometimes a requirement will come from the client. Okay, as a manager or as a lead, you're not sure that that might be possible. You don't say no. Okay, you say give me some time. Okay, uh, I have to do some POC on this. So proof of concept, basically, we call this proof of concept. So we try. We gather all the information that we need to do the testing. Okay, and we try that whether the testing is possible or not with the existing tools or the bandwidth that we have in our team. Okay, if that is possible, we give a go ahead. If not, we just let them know that it won't be possible for us. In the similar way, at this stage only, your managers and team lead will might involve that. Okay, we have a requirement something like this, can you please test this? If like usually we take 3 weeks. Okay, 3 weeks is more than enough to do the POC. Okay, so we do the POC, we check okay whether it is possible or not. If not, we'll let them know. In a similar way, Taylor also will try. He will say okay fine, it is I can do it. If not, he'll let us know. Then he'll say ma'am, can you please go, I mean you can sir, you can try somewhere else. Okay, so similar way, the so let's say that the stitch is possible, and in our case the power testing is possible for this project. Okay, so what is next? So as a master tailor, I have to look at the shop, right? I have to look at all the multiple. So in the manager has to look at multiple projects. Similar way, master tailor has to look at like at the customer, and he has like everyday customer coming and say multiple projects under his belt. Okay, so what he'll do, he'll give it to the head tailor. Okay, so now the head tailor is it like one level below than him. Okay, so what master head tailor will do, head tailor will look at, oh, okay fine, I have 5 tailors who are reporting to me. Okay, let me see that what they are doing. Okay, so test planning and strategy basically. Okay, so at this stage the of this stage I have taken all the measurements, I have decided the timelines that okay fine, we'll be delivering by this stage. Okay, by delivering this stage, so I will start planning it. Okay, so as a head tailor will give it to the master tailor will give it to head tailor, say okay fine, please have the go ahead and further conversation with him, and he'll get your job done. So he will have okay ma'am, so by what time do you need? Okay, so all this information. Similar way enough, if I talk about projects, so we'll show you the test plan and strategy document, you will understand properly. On a high level, we have to finalize, okay, what are timelines will be there, at what time I'll be running load test, sorry, so for how, I mean at what date, by what date, all the requirements like environment readiness will be there. Okay, then at by what time your scripts creation will be done. Okay, the next thing will be at what time you'll be running a load test. Okay, then at what time you'll be running your scalability test, or soak test, okay, and what time you're delivering all your results. So I need a tentative timelines, right? So that I can plan other activity as a owner. I can plan, okay, fine, by this date you will give me, I have to go to some wedding, so I'll be able to do that. So as a customer also, customer has to plan all of other things as well. I cannot say, okay sir, I'll let you know once it is done. No, a proper documentation of all those things needs to be done, and a planning needs to be done, okay, that okay fine, this is the way, this is the way I'm going to do it. So as a customer I can ask that, okay fine, how are you going to stitch it? So as the tailor has to explain it, right? Similar way, and planning and strategy, we have to, we again work, we share the methodology in a detailed manner, okay. At this stage, as a process, okay, as a process, we are explaining that these are the 10 offerings that I have, okay. At this stage we are documenting and telling that, sir, for your project, this is the step that I'm going to follow. Okay, this is the difference between these two. Remember that. Okay, so as I had also explained that for your stage, this is a process that I'm going to follow. So at this stage, we'll tell, okay, sir, that this is the way I'm going to stitch. I'm going to do the performance testing, and these are the steps that I'm going to involve. These are the tools that I'll be using. Okay, so all those things, like let's say if I don't have a tool which the client has asked, or let's say is required for this project, by this stage I have to procure it, okay, and I have to share that, okay, I'll be using this many license will be involved. If the cost is those things are like on the limit, that is goes to the billing section. But yeah, but all those things will be documented at this stage. Now once that is all finalized, every stage, okay, once this stage is finalized, this documentation is finalized, it goes to the client. Okay, let me clean it. Second, guys. Okay. Okay, so at this stage, if the once this is finalized, it goes to the client. Okay, multiple round happens this for this documentation. Whatever the steps that I'm telling now, it doesn't get finalized in a single meeting. Always remember, it happens in a multiple rounds of meeting. Okay, we understand something, we document, then we take it to the client. Then they say, no, 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 this is not for the way, and we, like this is our understanding. Can you please change it? Okay, similar way, client. So we have to have another round of meeting a similar way. So once this is finalized, this is signed, okay, these are 10 things that we're going to do. Then the performance testing planning, when we're explaining him that this is our methodology, this is the process that we are going to follow, these are tools that we are going to use. This also get finalized, okay. And if there is any misalignment, it has to be addressed, okay, it has to be addressed, and it needs to be get aligned and signed, okay fine, this is what we are doing, and we have to move next forward. Now once that is done, we create a test plan. So as a customer point of view, this is done, okay. And from the customer point of view, let's say that if I need to uh, in terms of documentation part, I mean, by this stage client it's there, okay. But on a high level, at this stage we share, okay, these are the tentative timelines will be there, these are on a high level. Once that is done, internally I need to, let's say, I'm working on some in TCS, okay. So I have a project in my team, so I have multiple projects, right? So I have to prepare detailed test plan that, okay, this resource this resource will be doing these activities, like that. In a test plan also, we did a detailed test plan with the tentative dates and times, that okay fine, we'll be running test during this duration, okay. All those things are documented at this stage, okay. Similarly, if you look at the tailor point of view, that as a customer, I had a discussion and all those things are finalized. I'm happy with the discussion that I had. I think that as per my expectation, the tailor is also aligned. He'll be delivering what I'm expecting. Okay, similar way, client is also aligned with me at this stage, that okay fine, this is what my expectations are as a performance system. It they will deliver. This is what I expect from them. Okay, now again internally the tailor will, okay, if you look at it, okay, which resource is free, okay, these are the timelines that I have to do, okay. As a planning, he will do all this planning. So similar way, we also create a test plan, we'll see the test plan, so we'll understand. So at this stage, we create a detailed test plan, okay, these are 10 activities that I need to perform, okay. Now once that is done, then we look at our workload modeling. So in the requirement gathering, non-functional requirement gathering, uh, we have gathered some information, okay. So client has idea that, okay, I have 10 modules in my application, okay. Out of the 10 modules, I want to get 5 to these tested because they are having performance issues, performance degradation is there, okay. But how much load distribution should be there, okay, all those things I'm not sure of it, okay. So as a performance tester, you have to ask few questions from them, Okay, when we'll see the document, we'll discuss more on this. But yeah, so but as a performance tester, you have to quantify. So I cannot test, right? I need numbers. So in my load, if you look at controller point of view, I can set, okay, these many users. Okay, so this I can create a script for this module, and then I can put, okay, 25 user, 30 user, 100 user, whatever the count is there. Or I can put in the TPS format. Okay, when I run the controller, this much TPS it will be running. Okay, so I need those numbers. So at this stage, as a lead, or your as a found sister, okay, you, it is your responsibility to do whatever the information that is being given to you, and you have to acquire that information. Okay, we need information in certain format. Okay, sometimes client have it, sometimes client doesn't have it. We'll see that how to procure that information, how to ask the right question so that the client gives us that information. Okay, so once that is done, we'll get a workload modeling. In workload modeling, basically we'll be distributing, okay, these are the 5 scenarios. This will be the load distribution. Okay, it will be running with this much TPS, we'll be achieving this many transactions should happen. Like that, workload modeling needs to be done. Okay, so as a from a tailor point of view, he'll also do all the calculation. Okay, I have like 10 meter of cloth, with the measurements that has been given to me, I'll be able to stitch it, something like that you can think of. Okay, so like that, we have gathered the information and we are quantifying it in a numerical format so that we can use it for testing purpose. Simple. Okay, when that is done, then test design and scenario. So similar with the like as a master tailor, I've given it to the somebody in my team, that okay, fine, go ahead and start working on this. So he is create I said that this is what the customer wants. So he's looking at it and he's creating the design on the cloth, cutting it, all those things. Similar way, as a performance tester, my lead has given it to me and I'm working on that. So let's say this is a scenario, so I know these are the critical components. I'm creating a business transaction flow document, basically a scenario that okay, these are the steps that I'll be checking. Okay, as a performance testing team, I know this is a component which is having issue, so I'll be testing these things in this particular format. Now once that is developed, so if you look at the test specialist, a performance test engineer also, same only, they are on the same level, so they are working on it. It's basically one level below the lead. Okay, so once that is done, once that is finalized, okay, so we work on the test scripts creation. Okay, so test scripts creation, similar way, we are the way we are creating the scripts. Okay, they are also working on like stitching the clothes, something like that you can think of. Now once that is done, test scripts creation is done, then we are working on the text execution. So we are executing the test. Okay, and we are checking, once the execution is done, we are looking at the results. So similar way, he has also stitched the cloth, he is checking, okay, the stitch is proper or not. Once that is done, he will show it to the client. So this is we are I mean, don't usually show directly to the client. So this is what happens, that as a performance tester, I will show it to the lead, so lead will look at the results. Then if the results are satisfactory, then we can go ahead and publish it. Okay, if not, then we have to get in line with the development team or infrastructure team who is there. Okay, whatever the bottlenecks that we are seeing, we have to get in line with them. We have a meeting with them, show them the result, work on the analysis. Okay, and then do another round of testing. Okay, similar way, let's say, so the I have done some, I created a cloth. Okay, I have stitched the cloth, but it's not proper. So the master tailor knows, okay, fine, this is something which is not proper, the client will not be happy with it. Okay, this is not the discussion that I had with him or her. Okay, so he'll be angry, so he'll say, okay, do one thing, do these changes and come back again. Similar way, we do some changes in the configuration on the application level, or let's say if it's in the infrastructure level, like as a software, we need to do some changes, like code level changes we have to do. We do all those things, and then we test it again, and then we see whether the results are satisfactory or not. Okay, we check whether the results are satisfactory or not. If they are satisfactory, then only we'll enroll the client. Okay, then only we'll at this stage we'll enroll the client. Otherwise, we'll do again the same changes, and we do another round of testing. So this process will keep on going. This testing, looking, analyzing the result, testing, analyzing the result, until and unless the test results are satisfactory. Or let's say the application team has said, we have optimized the application, no, we cannot do it. Infrastructure level also, we have saying that okay, we have optimized the system, we cannot move it. So we'll know, okay, this is a maximum that can be done for this application, and then we go in and publish the results saying that, sir, this is a state, and I mean, at this stage also we'll have some recommendation, maybe in terms of hardware increase, something will be there. Okay, I don't want to generalize, but yeah, some recommendation will be there which cannot be possible without intervention of the client, something like that you can think of. Okay, so we go ahead and publish the result and highlight this, that this is what it is. So these many rounds of testing we have done. This is the maximum that we can improve. If you need to improve, then you need to approve these things changes or as well. Okay, in the similar way, uh, let's say that I have stitched the cloth and I have showed to the client is not happy, so we have to tell them that sir, ma'am, that the requirement that you had, it's not possible, you maybe we need more cloth, something like that. The cloth is short, the requirement that you have, it needs to catch more cloth, or the design that you wanted, we need something, some material, extra material like that, we don't have it, something like that. The excuses the tailor gives, not the excuses, the reason the tailor tells you. Similar way, we also say that okay, what we have uh, basically promised, okay, and why we are deviated from that, the reason we have to explain it to them. Okay, if it's like all good, then we just have a sign off with them. Okay, if not, then again those client will see whether it is like available, or let's say whether that is possible or not. So as a customer also, if I see that okay fine, the design that I wanted, that might not be possible. Okay, so but I'm okay with whatever the tailor has stitched. So I will like, okay fine, maybe next year I'll have some money, or maybe next year I'll have some bandwidth, so I'll do that. Otherwise I'll be okay with this. Similar way, client also think that okay fine, as of now, maybe I'm the response time that I'm getting is 7 seconds. Okay, maybe I can work with it. Okay, but next year when I have a budget, okay, I'll go to 5 seconds if I do some infrastructure changes. Okay, this usually doesn't happen if it's like SLA, basic SLAs needs to be met, so they have to expand usually. So but yeah, it's not possible, right? So if the tailor says that ma'am, I need more cloth, I need, sir, I need more cloth to stitch, completely stitch your cloth, so you'll not say no, 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 next year I will come. So if those situations are there, then they have to expand, they have to approve those the changes that you are asking, or as a collectively, so you are in line with all the different teams. It's not that you have done the testing, you have done all these things and you are directly presenting to the client. No, it needs to be you need to be these discussions, all these improvement points and all this thing needs to be done previously. Client is someone usually they are technical, they are, might not be technical, but yeah, they are only they are you they are all they are in the end, they're always in the end. Okay, before that everyone, because at this stage client is not aware of the technical things that we are asking. So when we are understanding in this stage, okay, we are understanding the architecture of the application. Okay, so client will not be even the have the maybe have the slightest idea, okay, what is this, or what is the architecture. So at this time the client will pull in the developers, okay, or the infrastructure team, or the DBAs, okay, or the DevOps specialist, to explain how the application has been developed. Okay, so we are in with sync with them for in this entire stage. So we are checking with them and we are sharing all the analysis that we are having, okay, or the issues that we are identifying. Okay, so once that is done, then we say okay fine sir, if the client is happy, then we have a final test report in which we'll be explaining it to them. Okay fine, this is what the commitment is, and this is what we have delivered. Okay, now sometimes at this stage what happens, the client will say that no, 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 I want more. Okay, it usually happens. So if you have a bandwidth, we say okay fine, that is possible. Similar way, client say okay, can you please do that thing also, can you please add that thing also. Now the tailor say ma'am, that is not possible for me as of now. If the tailor is free or he's like kind hearted, he'll say okay fine, I'll do it without a cost. But yeah, usually that doesn't happen. Okay, a cost is always needed, because as a resource you are being used. Okay, leave everything as a resource, also you are putting efforts. Okay, so a cost is involved. So if that is possible, then we say okay fine ma'am, so we can go ahead and do it. If not, we have to tell them that it requires a little bit more efforts. Okay, so you'll be billed extra, and if the client is agree with that, then we go ahead and do that as well. If not, so we have to leave it then there itself. Okay, so if you look at it, if you look at the different stages that are there, you will understand the criticality of each stage and why these roles that has been written, why it has been written like that. So if you look at it, any unnecessary commitment, okay, or the commit, let's say a commitment which you have done which is might be possible with the team, okay, which can cause a trouble here at this stage, you will not be able to do a sign off. That is why, that is why your leads are there, your managers are there. Okay, test strategy and planning. Okay, this stage we are planning, so we have multiple projects. That's why lead comes into the picture. Sometimes manager is also there. Okay, so they are managing. Okay, I have 10 projects, I have to manage all the projects in a timely manner, so I have to look at it, which resource is doing what, okay, with what efficiency. So that's why your team leads and managers involved. But this stage, if you look at it, as an individual, I'm handling only one thing. Okay, so that's why your specialist and your performance engineer or all those people will come up. Okay, test specialist, okay, not a performance engineer. Okay, so test script development, execution, so this is all very easy. Okay, when I say easy, I mean, because see, script development, as a performance tester, I have 3 or 4 years experience. I'm very good at with scripting. Okay, so scripting wise I'll be good at, so it will not be a too much trouble for me. Okay, but if you look at this stage, so I'm testing it. Okay, I'm testing it, and when I'm testing it and I'm identifying any issues, any SLA breaches are there, or let's say performance issues are there, performance engineer is written. Okay, so that is because that a performance engineer is basically a performance test specialist, or a performance test engineer is basically in process to become performance engineer. Performance engineer is someone who has a little bit idea of the subsidiary platform also. Let's say if I'm testing on Azure, let's say I'm testing on AWS, okay, or on-prem, okay, so they have a idea about that architecture. So let's say they have a little bit of Java as well. Okay, so they know what the piece of code is written, because if usually you don't have the access if you're lucky enough to get into a project in which you have the access. So performance engineer, as an engineer, I can understand what the code, where the code is getting stuck, or what are the performance bottleneck that are happening on the application level. Okay, and I'm in the position to recommend something. That is why engineer. So engineer is someone who has like six not 6 7 8, more than 8 years of experience, because he has seen, he is working on multiple projects, he has seen multiple let's say he has already done one project in which the same platform was there, something similar issue, let's say that he has encountered. So he's in a position to recommend that, okay, do these changes, you might be able, it might be able to help. So performance engineer is someone who has just who just doesn't know testing. They have all the subsequent technologies that are involved in your application, they have a good understanding of that as well. Okay, because once you have the understanding, you are in the position to recommend, right? In order to tell that person that there is some issue with you, I need to understand you, right? So that is why a performance engineer is someone like that. Now teamwork is also written. Sometimes a individual person is doing it, and sometimes it's a team effort. So everybody is like, um, let's say they are like, it's a big project and multiple people are working on it. So let's say the testing is done, when the analysis is happening, multiple people are checking at the same time. Okay, they are reading, they're understanding the system, and they are saying, okay, fine, this issue has occurred because of that. So it can be a team effort as well. Okay, so uh, okay, so this can be a team effort as well. So at this stage we basically try to say, okay, we try to analyze the system, and we see, okay, if any recommendations are there or not for that system to improve, and we can go ahead and do it. And teamwork is also written, because sometimes the way I told, right, we are having discussion with the application team, DevOps team, or infrastructure team. So we are having discussion with the issues with them. So after discussion also, we sometimes come up with the recommendation, okay, let's do these changes, let's do that changes, and test it again. So uh, we do all those changes and we test it again. So it's a team effort as well. Okay, so I hope we are clear on the performance testing life cycle. Okay, it's very logical, you don't have to memorize as such. Okay, that, okay, fine, I have to tell this 10 step. If you remember this thing, that okay, because everybody once in a life they went to the tailor, so they can relate. Okay, and these are the things that I would have done as a customer. So definitely, as when I'm giving some services, I have to do the same, follow the same process. Okay, so anyone has any doubt in this till now, can ask. Anyone? No doubts?
Yeah. Can you please tell me the roles and responsibilities of performance tester and as well as performance test engineer? I need some clarification here.
Performance test engineer. Okay, so you are saying performance test engineer and performance test specialist, right? Uh, yeah, Madan, go ahead. Can you please repeat it again? Performance test engineer and
Yeah,
I didn't get-
performance tester
performance tester. Okay,
or tester
okay,
itself.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, okay, got it. Okay, so it's just the name. Okay, just the name. Some information they will call you performance engineer, sometime performance tester. They are the same only. Okay, testing. They are basically test. You are a tester only. Okay, you're a tester only. Maybe you have got into a project in which you have to do a lot of analysis. Okay, but yeah, it's what I know that on a definition level, it's same only. Okay, it's same only. Just that from organization to organization it varies. But yeah, it is up to you to constrain yourself. Okay, so what we'll do as a performance tester, what people usually do in a lot of projects, you'll find that the issue that occurs is we only test the application. We create the script, we run the script. If the SLA, we have like these three SLAs that we have discussed, if they are reaching, we go ahead and tell okay application team, and they said, sir, this is happening, can you please check it on your end? And they internally discuss that those issues, and they give you recommendation, then you test it again. Okay, but this is okay. Okay, this is okay, but learning wise you will not have much, because I mean on a scripting point of view you will become very very good because you are working on multiple applications, but as a technology wise you will not be learning much. Okay, so as a performance, and you will not get into this performance engineer stuff, because every performance tester is in progress to become a performance engineer. Okay, performance tester, performance test engineer. Okay, so uh so it is always advisable to get involved. Okay, and how do you get involved? Because you also have the required knowledge. Okay, if I need to communicate with you, you should be able to understand my language, right? So in a similar way, if I'm talking in technical terms, you should have a little bit understanding of those technical terms, so that you can also understand what I'm saying and work with me. Okay, but on a definition level it's same only. Okay,
thank you.
yeah, so this is done guys, I think. Okay, so let's move on. Now we'll look at the performance testing process, that how our performance testing projects are executed. Okay, so let's go ahead. Okay, so what is the first thing that are involved? So if you look at this uh, circle. Okay, so performance and certification approach. So what is the approach? Early involvement and setup. So that means we are getting involved on early stages as well. It's not that okay the entire application has been developed in the end and we have a very less time. Okay, let's say it's still in an automation phase. At that time only we are involved, so that we can gather all the information. So once that is, when the automation I mean all the automation testing is done, then only we'll and then we got the build immediately, and then we can start working on that. It's not that okay fine, when the automation is entirely done then we are involved. So that should not be the case. So early involvement is very required. Then setup, as in getting your environment, basically setup and getting access on all those things. Then quick access and planning. So quick access and planning, that means basically in an NFR we were understanding the application, right? We were trying to understand the application. Okay, and planning, same thing. Okay, once that is done, we like, this is a basically a condensed form of what we have discussed now, but now I think you are able to understand it. Okay, then next is your text execution. Once the execution is done, and monitoring and reporting, basically monitoring and reporting as in what are the issues that we are identifying, monitoring it and then reporting it. Okay, so but let's understand in a detailed manner. So first step is basically requirement analysis and NFR definition, historic information, test strategy, creation, and methodology. Okay, so your managers will be involved in this. So what we are doing in this stage, we are basically understanding the requirement of the client. Okay, and the historic information is for the application which we have tested already. Okay, we have tested already. It might happen that you have tested the application previously. Okay, but now the parameters has changed. Okay, it can happen. So we'll look at what was their requirement previously. Okay, and how it has changed, why it has changed, all those questions needs to be answered. So once all those discussions are finalized in our NFR, okay, then we work on the test strategy and creation. That is what we have discussed. Okay, and the methodology, that this is the methodology. So when we are explaining this is the methodology. We'll be explaining methodology in the next step. That process and methodology we'll be explaining them. So this is how we are going to do it. So we'll be finalizing on that okay, for this particular project we'll be following this particular methodology and process. Okay, so in terms of deliverables, okay, if I talk about what are the things that I need to get finalized by this step. So your you should have defined your NFR. Okay, give me a second. So performance test strategy. Okay, we'll be finalizing a performance test strategy, that how we are going to do it. And once that is done, then we have a sign off, SOW sign off. So we'll be finalizing, documenting all these things, and we are having a sign off that okay sir, this is what the requirement is, this is a strategy that we are going to follow, and we'll have a sign off on that. Okay, once that is done, we will start working on the uh, our modular test script creation, local, okay, custom. So basically we are working on the script creation. So we have finalized the scenarios that we are going to test, and we are working on the scripts. Okay, so we are creating a script. We are doing some smoke test execution. Smoke test is basically you have created a script, okay, and you want to test whether that scripts are working fine or not. Okay, but you'll be thinking that okay, when I'm creating the scripts, it's working fine in my machine. So when I say smoke test, sometime it will happen that you have to test your application. uh, it's an application which is hosted in USA, let's say. Okay, so you have created your it, although it application is accessible in your local system, which is in India. Okay, so you have created a script, it's working fine. But when you are putting in a controller, okay, and you are, or let's say, or performance center, and you are running it from the LGs which is there in US, okay, they are failing. Okay, so that can happen. There are ways, I mean, there can be reasons, so we leave it as of now, that what could be the reasons for this failure, but that can happen. So you cannot have the scenario that okay fine, at 2 p.m. you have to run a test. You have tested the script in your system, and you have uploaded in a performance center or controller, and you have started running at 2 p.m. and you are seeing the failure. So that's a issue from your end. As a performance testing, it's a failure, okay, from your end. So we don't want that to happen. So before the actual test executions, we have to do smoke test. I mean, the actual, I mean, it a normal a load test is for 1 hour, so you don't have to run it for 1 hour. Okay, smoke tests are only for 10 5 15 minutes max to max. Okay, we just want to check whether the scripts are working fine or not from those locations. So we'll do a lightweight basically. So we'll do a small smoke test. Okay, then workload model generation. So we are working on workload creation, workload modeling basically. Okay, we are working on this stage as well. So if you look at the deliverables, okay, deliverables for this stage is basically workload modeling and early performance test metrics. So we are doing, like, we have done it right. So we have we run it for 15 20 minutes. So we have a little bit idea, okay, how much response time we are getting. So we it will give us a little bit of idea that okay fine, this is what the application is looking like as of now. Okay, so once that is done, what is the next thing? You're basically benchmarking test, so load test. So let's say the application is not being tested. Okay, the application not been tested, so we have to do some benchmarking testing. Okay, so load test, and endurance test. Okay, these type of, let's say we have agreed on these three tests, so we'll be doing these three tests. Okay, this is the execution part we are in. Okay, so if you look at it, this is the execution part that we are in. Then side testing from the client side. So when I say side testing from the client side, as in that application is there in US, that application is developed for US, and the user base is also from US. So we should not, we cannot test the application from India, right? I cannot, let's say, even though the URL is accessible. Okay, let's say the URL, so for that we have, like, one, you can give one example for Amazon. So there is amazon.com and there is amazon.in. Okay, amazon.in is basically for US. Okay, com is India. Okay, so I cannot, when I'm testing it for the US based users, I cannot test it from India. Okay, there are multiple reasons that why you should not do that. Okay, because again, from India it will go to US, so latency will be very much higher. Okay, so those things will be there. again the response time will also increase. Okay, well, if the user is from India, that might be the case, he might face all those issues, but as a user from US, they might not face the same issues because the data center is also there in US as well. So those, we have to simulate the real time scenarios. Okay, we are basically mimicking mimicking the real users. So the user base in US, so machine should be used in, is should be in US only. Similar way, if it's in anywhere in the world, we have to get LGs. Basically, we have to get machines, client machines, basically, in which we have to install the LGs, and then we can do our testing from there. Okay, so site testing from the client, breakpoint and capacity testing. So this is also another kind of testing that we can do it. Okay, so this is all about execution. So once that is, and what are the deliverables? So we performance counters.
Hello, sir. Excuse me.
Yeah,
Hello. So, can
yeah.
you please elaborate what is benchmark testing? So we didn't get a clear idea on benchmark testing. What's the need of benchmark testing? So, basically, sanity testing and smoke testing one are the same, right?
Correct, correct. Sanity is also same thing.
Okay. What is benchmark testing?
Okay, so there are two terms here. So baseline testing and benchmark testing. Okay, so I think day after tomorrow I'll be covering that as well. Okay, that what is the difference between
Okay.
these two. Okay, so as of now you can think of that. Okay, fine. Let's say you have an application. You have developed one application for what do you think, mm, let's say for a mobile banking, not mobile banking, yeah, mobile banking only. Okay, now you know that SDFC customers. Okay, how do you come to decide, okay fine, if I login should happen within this much of time? How do you decide that? How do you decide that? So you look at the other
Uh,
application, mobile banking application, which is there in the market, right? So you
okay.
look at other competitors, you look at their competitors, that okay fine, their application is getting loaded in 5 seconds. Okay, login is happening in 5 seconds. So I should also at least have 5 seconds, right? It should not go beyond that, but then the customer will not come into my use my application. Okay, they will think, okay, this application is not optimized. Okay, so you basically benchmark, okay, this is what I start from. Okay, this is what the my base benchmark will be there, and I will start working from here. Okay, there is one more thing. Okay, called baselining. So what you
So,
just test
this
your application.
benchmarking. One second, sir. Sorry
Yeah,
for that. So actually, regarding the response time and the benchmark, so we'll be having those details in the SLA, right? So what's the need of testing, doing this benchmark again? So as we collect those SLAs from the beginning, well, requirement gathering itself.
correct, correct, correct. Okay, so you are saying that you have done the testing. Okay, so
Mm.
these requirements are gathered. Okay, I have not tested the application. I mean, we have not tested the, it is highly possible that a customer wants this much SLA. Okay, but the application itself is not performing with this much SLA. So I mean, okay, so there is one more thing. Okay, so there are two scenarios in this. So let's say the application is developed for the first time.
Okay.
Okay, this has not been tested ever again. Freshly developed application, we don't know the, I mean, we have a little bit idea, but yeah, we don't know the, if the user base is, let's say, 10,000 users will come up, how this application will perform. See, that's why they are doing the performance testing, right? So at that time we
Yeah.
benchmark that. Sometimes what will happen, that for the same application, let's say I've tested this application, I've certified that for login 5 seconds it will take. Okay, that is a benchmark for that application, for that let's say okay, now the second, like let's say I've done some deployments. Okay, major deployment, I've like changed the entire version of it. Okay, a
Okay.
new
So
version,
basically,
a new build is there.
benchmarking is done only for the projects which are doing performance testing first time.
It can happen for a previous application. That's what I've seen. So one scenario got it right. So it's a newly developed application. I benchmarked, okay, this much should be the response time, looking at the competitors, and have benchmarked it. Okay, and I said I'll be having this much response time, and I will keep working on it until I achieve that response time. Now there's another scenario in which I have tested the application. Okay, I have tested the application,
Okay.
certified that okay, this login is 5 seconds. Okay, now next time I'm doing it. Okay, next, like a new build has come up, that
Okay.
build is basically causing a higher response time. Okay, understand this, a code changes have been done,
Okay.
an infrastructure changes have been done, and this is for the second time I'm doing the testing after a year, or let's say 6 months. Okay, and now I'll not be looking at the computer, I'll first look at my SLA, I mean what I have certified previously. So let's say I've agreed on 5 seconds, and this time it's going beyond that. So I'll be benchmarking that. Okay fine, at least let me come to 5 seconds, then I'll have it like much more better improvement. Okay, so these are the two scenarios that we have. Okay.
Okay, yeah, clear.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, hello.
Go ahead.
So LG machines and LoadRunner, it is different. I mean, what is the difference, or it is similar? Load
Okay.
generator and LoadRunner. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll cover that in the end. No, just remind me. I will answer that. Okay. Let me just finish it 2 minutes and then I'll, because that's a part of load runner, so we'll be covering that. Okay. When the load runner sessions are happening, no, at that time we'll understand what is this controller analysis, view gen, what is LGs basically. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Then everybody is clear till here, right? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, so what are the performance so again, by this stage we have done our testing. Okay, so we have that is why if you see performance SLA compared is written, we are comparing it with the previous testing that we have done. Okay. So, and the performance counter that we have set up, so performance counter, that's why Datadog, Dynatrace, Azure Monitor, these are the tools. Let's say if it's on Azure platform, that you have Azure Monitor, and there's a tool called in market called Datadog. Okay. Then we have Dynatrace, which we are using in our current project. Okay. So we are looking at those more counters as well. Okay. And then we are I mean, we are checking, okay, whether the SLAs have been reached or not. Okay. So third part is monitoring and reporting. So sorry, fourth part, so performance monitoring and deep dive analysis, cloud vendor and tools based. Okay. Bottleneck identification and reporting. So this stage we have a this data Dynatrace, let's say. Okay. So we are looking into Dynatrace that, okay, fine, if the SLAs are not met, the response time is higher than what we have discussed or we have agreed upon, so why did it had occurred? Okay, what are the where are the major failures are there? Okay, what were the reason for that failure? So we'll be able to see those things. Okay, we'll be able to see those things in our Dynatrace tool. Okay, and then we'll be sharing all those things. Okay, we'll be sharing all those things with the application team. Okay, and we'll be sharing and then having a discussion that how these issues or errors can be avoided. Then have again this process can be repetitive. Okay, it can happen again and again once everything is finalized. Okay, let's say that we are able to achieve the agreed SLA, or in terms of optimization we have done the optimization, but still the SLA has not been reached, then we have to publish the result in which execution metrics report basically, then redefined performance benchmarks. So why we are saying Ram, answering to your question, see, it's been redefined for the new build. This is a new benchmarking. Okay. So then performance test certification. So it usually happens that we give the certification. Okay, that okay, with this build. Okay, usually what we as a practice what we do now, that currently when we are certifying the application, we take us image of it. Okay, whatever the configuration is there, whatever the build is there. Okay, on a software level I'm talking about. Okay, whatever the user load was there, what from which site we have tested everything, every minuscule detail that is there, with the detail that we have tested the environment, we are certifying that. Reason why? Because sometimes what happens in future, a user base increase, some parameter got changed. Okay, and then the performance degradation will happen. What the customer will start coming up and telling you that you have certified the application that it is with this much user base it will be stable, and now see I'm having performance degradation. So at that time you have to tell them that, sir, this is what I have certified, compare it. Okay, see what any changes that has been made or not. If it's the exact same build, okay, on a software level, on an infrastructure level, then it's okay, then we have to, like, it's a issue usually doesn't happen, they must have done some changes. Okay, or they can tell them that, sir, see, you have done these changes. Okay, I have not certified on this. So on the certification that you're giving, you have to attach all the details saying, okay, I certified with this configuration only. Okay, then in the end we certify that, okay, fine, which this with this much user base your application will be stable. Okay, the response time will be this much, the SLAs will be the, even in the peak, let's say 100 users will be there, if that's the maximum users that can come up. Okay, so the response, your CPU utilization, memory utilization not go beyond 70%, something like that. All those things will be documented and share, which is part of a test performance test certification. So this is all about performance test process. Okay, now if I look at reusable, if you look at it, I've written reusable asset and template. Why? Because see, we have usually it happens that in organization when you go, you'll have an extended document. Okay, you have an extended document basically, which have a questionnaire. Okay, so in our NFR gathering, client, we as a practice we usually create a checklist. Okay, a checklist or a sets of questions that we ask. It might that it is relevant to that environment, it might be the case that it is not relevant, but yeah, it's an exhaustive list of questions that we ask, so that we gather all the information that I need. So that is something, that's a reusable template that we can use. Then in terms of testing master sheet and checklist, so we okay, so I didn't show you guys the performance testing master sheet. Okay, so that's a master sheet that we use basically to maintain. So we have all the information, right? How do I manage all this information? So in order to manage that all the information, we use something called performance testing master sheet, which will have all the information needed. Okay, so let me show you 2 minutes. Okay. Okay, so if you look at this, this is a master sheet. Okay, it will have all information that a performance system need to do the testing. So if you look at the daily status tracker, why do you need this? Okay, so it can happen that you have a dedicated environment, you can do the testing whenever you want, but some usually it doesn't happen. You will have a shared environment, application team is doing in the same environment, DevOps team is also doing the same, now migration team is also using the same environment, you are also doing the same environment. Okay, so you need to have a timeline. Okay, you have to decide, okay, I'll be needing this amount for this particular time. At the same time, reporting is very important. Okay, delay is not a issue, delay is not a issue until it's justified. But how do you justify? Let's say for 2 weeks you are supposed to deliver, and then at the end of the week you are coming saying that these are the 10 issues, because of that I'm not able to. So client might not be happy with you. Okay, so what is the best way to keep the client happy is to keep them informed on a daily basis. Okay, so if you look at it, then we have this, I have like created this format in which you can say, okay, what is the status? If it's like all everything we are going as planned, so it can be good, otherwise it will be in amber or like stuck, so we can put in a red. So description, what is the project is all about, then key highlights, if they're like, let's say you're procuring the LGs. Okay, let's say you need machines in US, right, or in London, wherever you need it. Okay, so you are you able to get that machines or not? Okay, something, some updates need, whatever the happening, you have to keep them updated. Then what are the major milestones? So in the performance test plan we are defining the milestones. Okay, by this date we will do that, by this date we will do that, so whether we are able to achieve that or not. Then if there is a issue, okay, the blocker which needs a higher management attention, so we can write this from here. Issue as in risk, I mean due to this there is a issue and risk which is involved, so you can highlight that as well. Then a task summary, that what you have done in this week, or let's say today, or let's say you can drop it every 2 or 3 days also. So what are the tasks that you've done? Scripting, okay, scripting status, that when you will be starting, when you will be ending it. Okay, if there is a issue, what is the issue? Okay, then execution status, that when you are going to do the execution, how many runs happened, execution date, completed or not, phase. Okay, then any why it is why it is a blocker, what was the issue, that is, I mean that's the issue. So what will happen, that client might not be aware of this format in the first. Okay, so in your meetings you can explain it to him, but after that if you look at it, it is incorporating all the information that someone needs to be there. Okay, I can escalate it. Okay, here I can give the update everywhere, so it's client is updated all the time. So usually if you follow this process, no escalations will happen, and it's good for you as a team also. Okay, then revision history, so this document needs to be updated all on a daily on a regular basis. When I say whenever you have record some information, let's say it has changed, so you have to update it and you have to document that as well with the prepared and approved by, I mean it's a format that you can choose. Okay, it's very easy, because if I leave this project also, tomorrow someone else will come and he'll know detail every each and every that I have done. So that's why it is very crucial. Then application details are there, URL access details. Okay, then checklist. Let's say I have created checklist which someone needs to do. Okay, so I can have this here and people will do that as well. Then scripting status, then business scenarios, SLAs. Okay, then user detail. Let's say I can use single ID, but I have to use multiple IDs, so their detail as well. Then scripting. Okay, LR script where the status is there. Then workload distribution. Okay, then environment details. Okay, then workload modeling again. Then injector machines, so basically LG machines only. So their host IP, their IPs. Okay, their system configuration detail, all this there. The network latency if you are configured. Okay, then your test plan basically. Then your server details, uh your your server key performance indicators. Okay, basically KPIs that are there. So everything that needs a person need to do a testing, it will be there in this particular document. Okay, so this is also a reusable document, because it is not confined. Okay, you can use it in this particular project or that particular project. You can use in any project as you like. Okay, so it's a journal format. Okay.
Will we get that as a reference?
Yeah, you'll get it. Everything you'll get it. Okay. So navigation for document, so you can refer that how to create the transition flow document. Then scripting templates, if you have best practices, basically you have. So that is something that you can share to the client. So client might ask you this. Okay, they can ask you about the process, right? As a when I go to a shop of a tailor, I can see the tailor workshop, right? I can see the way they are working, the condition that they are working, the practice that they are following. In a similar way, client also wants to know all this information, that okay, fine, what is the practice, what is the documentation practice that you follow. So that is why these are needed, because you can show to them that this is how our process is. Okay, are you getting the picture, right? Why I'm showing all these things, so you can say that these are the reusable templates, and this is how we'll be using in your environment as well. So scripting practices that you can share. Then in terms of analysis, you have certain best practices. So let's say a Dynatrace has been getting used, so you know that okay, if I create a dashboard something like this, it will help me as a performance tester to analyze. Or let's say scripting wise, let's say if I'm using Dynatrace, so I have to put certain headers in my script so that I can filter it out. Okay, and let's say that services configuration, you can separately configure those services, you can configure the response time, all those things. Okay, so if you are using it repetitively, you become a little bit expert in that, obviously. So you can set certain practice. Okay, for every period we have to implement this, something like that. So guidelines, okay, these are things which is there, okay, which we can use as a performance tester. But in terms of deliverable, if you look at it, so first deliverable that a performance tester team has, performance test requirement, basically NFR document. Okay, then your test plan, the test plan, that your strategy and planning document basically. Then the test step doc. Okay, so how you are going to do the testing timelines basically. Okay, then your analysis report, and in the end certification. Okay, so this is all for the performance testing process. Tomorrow we'll look at the methodology, that how exactly the testing has been done, that from a like creation to execution, then how they are been done, we'll see that tomorrow. But process wise, I hope everybody is clear that how we are going to do the testing. Okay, anyone has any doubt in this, you can ask. uh,
Tomorrow there will be session because
Tomorrow as in
tomorrow is
next week,
Saturday.
Monday, yeah,
Okay,
Monday.
Monday. Okay.
Yeah, anyone has any question? Raval, Madan, Navya, Ram, Mu, Satish, Singra, guys, any questions? No. Okay, fine, thank you guys for joining. Yeah,
Thank you.
Raval, yeah, bye.